The Karnataka Assembly election is expected to give a majority to the Congress according to two pre-poll surveys. The ABP voter opinion poll sees BJP winning just 74 to 86 seats, down from 116 that it had in the outgoing assembly, while the Congress is seen winning 107 to 119 seats, up from 69 in the outgoing assembly. The E-Dina poll shows similar numbers, Congress increasing its tally well above the 50% mark of 112 seats, and BJP getting about half of what they did in the outgoing assembly, half of the 116 that they did. So today I have with me four experts to explain what's happening on ground zero. I have with me CNN-IBN's consulting editor DP Satish and Professor A. Narayana, Professor of Political Science at the Azim Premji Institute, by far the two best observers of Karnataka politics. We also have with us D.K. Singh, the political editor at The Print, and A.K. Bhattacharya, editor at Business Standard, to explain how Karnataka's results may influence national politics and policies. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. I must add that in the last 2-3 hours, two more polls have come in, one from Z Mattries and another one from Suvarna Jan Ki Baat, who are giving a slight edge to the BJP. So it looks like even Steven. But Satish, let me start with you. Are the Sea Water polls getting it right, or has the Prime Minister's whirlwind tour made a difference?
Latha, this is the most important election for the Congress party because its very existence in Karnataka survival depends on the outcome of this election. Congress has invested everything in this election. Money, power, also its organizational skills, strategy, goodwill, everything. If Congress loses this election, it will be very, very difficult for the Congress to come back and for the leaders to revive the party. I am sure Congress is working very hard to win this election, and they will have to win this election. Okay. At the same time, BJP is a ruling party, and Karnataka is the only state in the south, as you know, where they are in power. And ahead of Lok Sabha election, they don't want to lose Karnataka at any cost. And it is a fact that there is a BJP government in Karnataka is facing anti-incumbency, and people are not happy with it. That's why Prime Minister Narayana Modi is campaigning in Karnataka every day. And he has been campaigning in Karnataka for the past 1 week. And I am sure BJP workers have come out only because Modi is campaigning aggressively across the Karnataka, because Modi's popularity is still intact in the state, and Modi is the one who can draw a huge crowd. At the same time, Congress has several leaders, but Siddaramaiah is the most popular among all. And Siddaramaiah is from the southernmost district of Mysore, but he is equally popular in the northernmost district of Bidar. There have been many pre-poll surveys. Some pre-poll surveys claim that Congress is leading. Some pre-poll surveys claim BJP is leading. Some pre-poll surveys claim it is going to be a very tight fight, and there can even be a hung assembly. Yeah. But if you look at the response, or when you go around the state and meet people or talk to them, I think they will vote for a single party government this time, because Karnataka has a history of not repeating a hung assembly one more time. Technically in 2008 it was hung, but Yediyurappa managed to win 110 seats, because Karnataka also has a history of not repeating the incumbent government since 1989. Yes. That's why its election is going to be very, very interesting.
Okay. Yes, anti-incumbency is a hallmark of Karnataka polls for the last 30-35 years. Professor Narayana, what have been your observations? Will it be just plain anti-incumbency? Is corruption a very big factor? There is a lot of talk about this 40% Sarkara, quip. Or will it once again go back to caste? Will it just be the Lingayats calling the shots? How are you perceiving the trends in this election?
So let me put it like this. Now, irrespective of what the surveys say, all that I can say is that this time, the kind of anti-incumbency that is visible on the ground is something which has never been seen, let us say, after 1989. Okay. So, any government facing this kind of anti-incumbency is very unlikely to come back to power in Karnataka unless something drastically changes this time. And I don't think anything drastically changing in favor of the BJP. Therefore, I would say that surveys which have given slightly higher number to the Congress may be considered as more reliable at this point in time.
So, but Professor, what is the reason for the anti-incumbency? Is it that the free rice has been reduced from 10 to 5? Is it petrol prices? Or is it this, what I was saying, corruption, perceived corruption of the Bombay government?
Okay, I would say it is a combination of all the factors that you have mentioned. And one survey has shown that it is corruption, and other surveys have shown that it is the price rise. But it's true that corruption of late doesn't figure so prominently in the minds of the voters, because the standard response would be that, well, all parties are corrupt. However, corruption would always be there in the background for the government, for the people to judge the government. Now, corruption combined with price rise, which affects their daily lives, which makes their daily life sort of difficult. The combined effect of these two factors, I would say, is the main factor behind anti-incumbency, or the kind of anti-incumbency that we have seen. And in addition to that, I think the signal that is going to the voters is that all is not too well in the ruling party. For the last few months, the kind of developments that the BJP has seen in Karnataka does not give a sense of a cohesive party unit at the state level, right? So in the past, whenever Karnataka faced the election, the ruling party burdened with the anti-incumbency and also instability within its organization, the results always went against the
ruling party. Okay, there are two more factors I want you and Satish to speak about, and then I want to look at the national implication as well. Satish, how important is the hijab kind of issues? Is it that won't make a difference because the Muslim vote is anyway consolidated with Congress, or will it make a difference this time? And secondly, rebel politicians. I mean, Shettar is, of course, a very big person, but there are other rebel candidates. So both these issues, do you think? Yeah, go ahead.
Now, surprisingly, BJP is not even mentioning halal, hijab, mosque, all these things in this election, because these things were very big issues maybe 6 months ago. BJP is not even mentioning these issues. And BJP insiders feel that these issues will have no impact on the election. Even in Dakshina Kannada and Udupi districts, where this issue was very big and where they actually followed the so-called Gujarat model, even there they are not mentioning these issues, because BJP is also fighting this issue on development plan and Prime Minister Modi's popularity. And BJP is not mentioning it, and Congress is also not talking about it, because Congress feels that anyway at least 80 to 90% of the Muslims vote for the Congress. And Congress is trying to prevent some Muslim votes from going from Congress to JDS, because JDS claims that it's also a secular party. And the second issue you are talking about is Jagdish Shettar, because Jagdish Shettar may or may not win from Hubli Dharwad Central Assembly seat, which he has won 6 times in the past. But Jagdish Shettar is an important Lingayat leader, may not be as popular as Yadurappa or anyone else. But it has changed the perception among the Lingayats that there is something wrong with the BJP. And that might influence the voting pattern in the rest of Karnataka.
DK, I want your view on, what are your people with feet on the ground telling you? Are you getting a sense that there is a bit of disarray? And more importantly, what is the takeaway for national politics, DK? If
nationally, this Karnataka election result will actually tell us how prepared the Congress is as a political party to take on the BJP. Because in Karnataka, it has everything going right for it. Say, historically, the last time you had some Karnataka chief minister who completed uninterrupted 5 years in office, that was Devraj 50 years back.
Yes.
Hegde did that, but that was in two terms. So you have the history with you. That if you look at it now, what's happening in Karnataka, you have a great organizer in D.K. Shivakumar. You have a popular face in Siddharamaiah. You have the BJP, which has messed up its entire poll strategy like never before and nowhere else. Despite that, if you're not able to win and fall to the finishing line, that tells you a lot about the Congress party's ability to fight the BJP, even with all these disadvantages.
Fair enough. I mean, I take your point that all the experts are pointing out to the several tailwinds that the Congress has and headwinds that the BJP has. But the BJP has one big tailwind in the personality of the Prime Minister. So that final question before we take a break, Professor Narayana, do you think that it's an overwhelming personality? You think that can still swing the scales, or do state politics, state elections center around local issues?
Yeah, I would say two things here. One, Karnataka electorate has always, decided differently in Lok Sabha elections and assembly elections. The other way of putting it is somewhat like this. The Karnataka voter has never been swayed by the kind of leadership or the kind of power a political party held at the national level while deciding whom to select at the state level. That's point number one. Point number two is this. Even if you accept that the personality of Prime Minister Modi is overwhelming, what is that he is telling the people, right? And there's not been any consistency in the kind of narrative that he has been putting out before the people.
Okay.
In the beginning, it used to be corruption. But then one of the ruling party MLA was caught red-handed, and after that narrative stopped. And then he started saying that Congress is a Parivar party or it's a dynastic party. But after the BJP announced its list of candidates, people started pointing out that the list is full of people who have some kind of family ties with the established leaders of the BJP. So after that, even that has taken a back seat. Now, of course, they have been saying, including the Prime Minister, this idea of double-engine government, but this double-engine government has not delivered in Karnataka.
Okay.
If the double-engine government has delivered, then we would not be seeing the kind of anti-incumbency that we are seeing on the ground. So therefore, just because the Prime Minister is coming here and holding roadshows might not change the reality, ground reality much. This is my understanding.
Okay, DP, very quickly, Satish, if you can just enlighten me on how effective is the Prime Minister? Is Hindi widely understood in Karnataka?
Because BJP has no local leadership, okay? Because Yadurappa is no longer going to Yadurappa is not going to be the chief military again. Because Yadurappa is a caste leader, he would have got a lot of votes. But this time he is leading the party, but he is not going to be the chief
Hindi
minister.
understood. Can the PM make an impact? Because that seems to be the handicap in the southern states.
No, in some districts, wherever PM goes, he will have a translator or interpreter.
Okay.
But he can't be so effective because he needs an interpreter or translator, particularly in the Old Mysore region, the southern part of the state.
Fair point. That could be a bit of a handicap. And for the BJP, of course, that could be the big reason why in the southern states also they aren't making much of headway. We have to take a quick break, but I have lots more questions on what may be the impact of either a BJP or a Congress victory on national politics. Those questions after the break.
Zedlock Premium Agarbatti and Dhoop, official prayer partner, Delhi Capitals.
Film shoot, iPhone 14 Pro पे. Amazing camera, huh?
And cut! Hang on, director को भेजना है.
Beach से, कैसे? Those 4K videos are huge. यहाँ juice तो मिल गया. Wi-Fi कहाँ से मिलेगा?
Airtel 5G Plus तो मिलेगा.
So you've
Already got it. Maybe you should get it too. Back up, guys!
चले?
चले चले
साफ हवा एंजॉय करने के लिए अब कहीं और क्यों चले? वोल्टास का नया प्योर एयर एडजस्टेबल एसी विद हेबा फिल्टर लाए साफ ठंडी हवा सीधे आपके घर, वो भी 6 एडजस्टेबल टनेज मोड्स में।
तो हवा और सेविंग्स दोनों टन-टनाटन।
From David to Goliath, from the smallest business ventures to multi-million-dollar global corporations, meet the movers and shakers, today's newsmakers and tomorrow's leaders. Understand what makes markets move, how companies make quantum leaps, and how giant corporations stay ahead. Get the biggest business stories of the day, power-packed into 30 minutes on Business 360 at these times. Making the future truly forward and charting a path towards gender parity.
There is enough evidence, data are displayed to say that organizations that have women in leadership positions, women in middle management, women at entry levels, you clearly get better outcomes.
A mega initiative to make gender parity an attainable reality. HSBC presents CNBC-TV18 Future Female Forward, the Women's Collective.
Presented by HSBC.
Co-presented by HCL Tech.
Knowledge partner Deloitte. Industry partner FICCI. Associate partner Reliance Industries Limited.
Welcome back. This is a Karnataka election special on Indianomics, and I have been speaking with DP Satish, Professor Narayana, DK Singh, and Mr. A.K. Bhattacharya of the Business Standard. Well, at the moment, we know that two polls, the ABP voter and the E-Dina polls are indicating a majority for the comfortable majority for the Congress. But in the last, in the past 1 day, we have seen two polls, the Z poll and the Suvarna poll, indicating a slight majority for the BJP. So, Mr. Bhattacharya, thank you very much for your patience. If the polls indeed turn out a comfortable win for the Congress, how do you see the impact on national politics? More particularly, will there be an impact on the coming general elections next year?
There is no doubt that Karnataka election is an important event in the calendar of India's festival of democracy of sorts. You're going to see 9 assembly elections in the current year, leading up to general elections in 2024. Karnataka is a large state. It's a big state in South India. It is economically doing very well. So therefore, if the Congress and its coalition partners win this state, it will certainly have an impact on the national mood as far as politics is concerned. So there is no doubt about it. But at the same time, I would also add that whatever be the outcome of the Karnataka Assembly elections will have its impact on the general elections, and the run-up to the general elections will be defined by many other factors, many other election results, particularly state elections or in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in Telangana, in Rajasthan, which will be held in the next 5-6 months. So yes, Karnataka election results going in favor of Congress will be a shot in the arm for the opposition parties in the country. But at the same time, many more developments on the electoral front will take place, which will change the course or define or redefine the electoral mood in the country in the next 10 months.
You're right. There are plenty. Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, as you point out, there are other elections. What's your sense, DK? You agree that this will be probably a 1-week affair, and then the national mood will be set by the forthcoming elections? We shouldn't exaggerate.
Yes, I agree. But before I come to that, I would just like to take off from where Professor Narayana left.
Yeah.
The other day I was talking to Professor James Manner, and he was pointing out, in 1980s, you had the 4 election where the Congress swept the Lok Sabha polls completely. I think 27 out of 28 seats Congress had taken away. Then Ramakrishna Hegde goes for the snap polls, and there his slogan is that Rajiv Gandhi is not going to come here as your chief minister. And he sweeps the polls again. So he was talking about anti-incumbency and how voters have been voting differently for Lok Sabha.
Okay.
So I just want to point out that.
Okay.
Coming to your question, yes, a lot will depend on what happens towards the end. But let's not forget that in 2018 also, Congress had won Rajasthan. Congress virtually won MP, but lost the government.
Yeah.
Later, Congress won Chhattisgarh, and we know what happened in 2019.
Yeah.
Let's not link assembly to the Lok Sabha polls. But how it will change is you will suddenly see a lot of effort by all these advocates of opposition unity.
Okay.
We have this Nitish Kumar's plan to have this meeting of opposition parties in Patna after the Karnataka polls. So again, you will see it will bolster, if the Karnataka polls go the Congress way, it will bolster all the advocates of opposition unity, although I'm not very sure about the overall impact of this united opposition, or whether it will happen or not. But of course, you'll see all that effort. Then it will also reaffirm the Congress's position as numero uno in the opposition camp, you can say. Because Kejriwal was questioning, Mamata Banerjee was questioning, KCR was never ready to accept it. But if Congress is able to win Karnataka convincingly, you will see this gradual, acceptance of the party as the numero uno party in the opposition. These attempts, I don't know how successful or unsuccessful it will be, but it will definitely bolster the opposition camp.
Okay.
It's not going to be a national opposition unity anyway. It has to be a state-specific. And you cannot have UDF, LDF going together in Kerala. You cannot have Mamata or left going together in West Bengal. You cannot have Congress and BJD going together in Odisha.
Yes.
This is not going to happen. Yeah. But what it will do is, right now, Congress is being seen as a kind of burden, even alliance partners. That's how Akhilesh, which was Akhilesh Yadav of Samajwadi Party, which was an alliance partner of the Congress in 2017 election. Now, the way he treats the Congress, that you go with the Congress and you lose.
Okay.
Congress
that image may change. Fair enough.
That image may change.
Okay. No, that's a very big takeaway, actually. It could be a string of opposition unity, though that still seems a very distant mirage. It looks like every opposition, major opposition leader sees himself or herself as the Prime Minister rather than a Congress leader. But Professor Narayana, you want to take a jab at that? Do you think there is any impact on national politics or this is entirely a local affair, Karnataka politics?
Okay. In these days, I don't think there is something called local elections. Every election will have some kind of impact on something else. But that said, I would agree with Mr. Singh on 2 points. One, it is possible that even if the Congress wins 2023 Karnataka Legislative Assembly election, the Karnataka electorate may go in an opposite direction when it comes to the Lok Sabha elections. So that is in terms of the numbers. But I think more important is the impact in terms of the signals, right? What kind of signal will these results send out to the southern states in particular and to the national electorate in general?
Okay.
Should the Congress win?
Okay.
Right? One, in case the Congress wins Karnataka, I think it will bolster the case of the Congress to lead the opposition back.
Okay.
But that will come later. Okay. But immediately, I think one important factor to be considered here is that BJP has always claimed that Karnataka is its southern gateway.
Okay.
But that gateway has not opened yet fully.
Other doors, yes.
Yeah, BJP. Now, in case the BJP wins Karnataka, BJP will find it easier to penetrate into other southern states, let us say, to some extent Kerala, to some extent Telangana, to some extent Andhra Pradesh, etc. But in case Karnataka is not going to favor the BJP, then that part of the story for the BJP
becomes uphill. Yeah, absolutely. Well, very quickly, I'm running out of time. AKB, if the BJP were to lose and the Congress wins, Congress has announced a lot of freebies. Do you think that changes the BJP's policies at the centre? Will they become more populist? And are we going to see freebies as we get towards the general elections?
Remember, Karnataka is a rich state. Its share in the total India's GDP is almost 8%. Its labor participation rate is well above the national labor force participation rate. Karnataka has a labor force participation of 56%. Its unemployment rate is at around 3%. Now, given and its per capita income, if you take the purchasing power parity parameter, is $13,000. Now, this is a relatively, in the Indian context, a rich state. And in spite of that, in this election, what we are seeing, that a rich state like Karnataka is seeing electoral battles fought on the question of welfarism, on the promise of job reservation. So what I think is that the so-called culture of providing freebies within quotes has already been unleashed. So I think whichever way the election results go, unfortunately for the fiscal health of the country in different states and in the center, the election, the debate and the Karnataka elections do not augur very well. I don't see any possibility of the coming state elections in Chhattisgarh, in Madhya Pradesh, or Rajasthan, or Telangana stay away from this trend of more welfarism and more freebies, more job reservation. So I think it's a trend that has gained deep roots, and it is something that has to be debated.
I'm out of time. I take your point. We have to debate this. We're just out of time. One very quick question to you, Satish. Will freebies tilt the balance in Karnataka? After all, the Congress has announced a good bunch.
Both BJP and Congress have announced a lot of freebies, or what we call welfare schemes. It may or may not help. Certainly it might help, because this is not the first time some political party has announced freebies or welfare schemes for the people of Karnataka. Between 2013 and 2018, Siddaramaiah government had a lot of welfare schemes or freebies, and some of them really worked for the party. And it might work. It might work because BJP has been forced to announce a lot of freebies. That clearly shows that it will work.
Oh, right. Okay, we'll have to see. There are not too many days left, maybe 4 or 5 days. We will see how this one goes and what's the impact. Thank you very much, Professor Narayana, Satish, DK Singh and Bhattacharya for enriching our understanding of the Karnataka polls. That's it on this edition of Indian Office.